Our job begins where most advisors stop. Saving money is great, but how do you spend it without risk in retirement? Welcome to Every Day is Saturday with Brad Gatto and Matt Stahl, partners and private wealth managers at Fiat Wealth Management. In this podcast, we aim to broaden your knowledge about the financial world we live in today and make the boring and complex financial decisions fun, informative, and educational. Join us on this journey where Brad and Matt will explore different strategies on how to spend your money without guilt and have peace of mind knowing you are spending it the optimal way in retirement.
You've heard from Brad, you've heard from Matt. Now it's time to hear from one of our advisors, Daniel Colvin. Welcome to Every Day is Saturday. I'm Matt Stahl here with my partner, Brad Gatto, to talk to Danny Colvin today.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. That said, Matt, we're not the only people that work here.
Turns out we're not. We have a whole team of people with us.
Yeah, and Danny Colvin's joining us on the podcast today. Danny, why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with everyone.
Well, we're excited to have you. We love having you a part of the team. We know your story, but most of these listeners do not. And so, Danny, let's just start at the beginning. Where are you from?
Vernon, New Jersey, Brad.
I'm going to venture to say that most people in Minnesota don't know where Vernon, New Jersey is outside of the fact that it's in New Jersey. So give us a little context.
Yeah, that's fair. Vernon, New Jersey is in northern New Jersey, specifically Sussex County, just up north, Brad.
So is that like where the Sopranos were from, Danny?
Very close, only about 45 minutes away.
Oh, nice. I actually didn't know that. So give us a little bit of your backstory. Growing up in New Jersey, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. You have siblings. What were you into? You play sports?
Yeah, upbringing. I have two brothers, an older brother, younger brother, and a younger sister. Typical active, running everywhere family. I believe at one point all of us had played ice hockey. So Mom was very busy driving us around. What else? Yeah, just your typical.
So Danny, I mean, I know that obviously we're in Minnesota now, and Minnesota is a hockey state, but New Jersey just doesn't strike me as a hockey state. I mean, is that true? I mean, how did you guys get into hockey out there?
Oh, you're not wrong. I can vividly remember our first, kind of when we were growing up as mites, playing on a frozen tennis court in Pennsylvania. That was our ice rink growing up. Had the metal rails on it and everything.
Nice. I don't know what a mite is. I'm from Iowa. Yes, we live in Minnesota, but what age is a mite?
Oh, I'm gonna get laughed at. I think it's 7, 7 or 8. I'm probably off. It's too far ago.
The funny thing is, I thought that question was going to make me look bad, but I actually think it did the exact opposite. I think it made you look bad.
It did.
So other than playing hockey, where did you go after school? Like, how did you end up in Minnesota? Tell us a story from the time that you got out of school till you ended up here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess school, I grew up on the East Coast going to school in Vernon, New Jersey. Hockey kind of took me on a different path, Brad. I had ended up going to prep school in Connecticut to play hockey there and study for a couple of years. And then from there, ended up getting the opportunity to play college hockey at West Point in New York.
Wow. So you took the New Jersey hockey thing pretty seriously.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of forced on me at a young age, thanks to my mom, but grateful for it.
I want to hear what young Danny Colvin thought he was going to be when he was going to grow up.
Oh man, that's a good question. I think hockey was kind of, was the ideal situation, but I'm a little too small and a little too slow to play hockey at that level. So had to go with my second choice,
which was
being a financial advisor.
Come on, that wasn't your second choice.
I don't know. I kind of growing up, I mean, hockey really was it, Brad. And then West Point getting there kind of automatically set me on a path where if the listeners are familiar, when you graduate, you automatically commission into the Army as an officer. So
Sure.
job choice aside, it made it pretty simple at that point, you can imagine.
I want to hear more about West Point. What was it like?
Honestly, Matt, it's kind of like a dream. If you think back to it, everything from the first day when you show up and they shave your head, remembering back at that point, Brad, I had hockey hair, right? Kind of like your
You had the
typical.
flow.
Yeah. So that experience kind of wakes you up.
I've never seen a picture of that. Do those exist?
They they exist. I'll send one over after today.
Yeah, sounds good. So you show up, you shave your head. Then how long were you there before you were commissioned? Was it a full 4 years?
Yeah, it's a full 4 years, like any college. I suppose not everybody knows, but you go through and it's like any other college. You take everything from English to chemistry to calculus, ton of credit hours in not a lot of time space. I think on an average week as a Division I athlete, you have to find a way to squeeze in about, I think, 6 to 8 hours of homework within a maybe 3 hour
Sure.
time window after all class and practices are said and done. So teaches you a thing or two about time management, I suppose.
So where does the military fit into that, right? Because it's a military school. You obviously have the full blown college as you just described, plus you're a D1 athlete. I would assume there's some sort of military training going on as well.
Yeah, there is. It's one of the pillars, and you get it. Take everything from actual military kind of instructional classes, and then it's just the day to day. I mean, of course, you're at college, but you're not. I mean, everything from being required to make your bed, leave the door open on a daily basis for inspections. Brad, that's one of the areas at West Point that I had a learning curve with. We'll put it that way.
Well, I don't think I ever made my bed in college.
Still don't.
Let alone took a military class or played
Yeah.
D1 sports for that matter. So you got commissioned. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that was a pretty special time. I know my father, his father was in the Army as well, so having the ability to join the Army and commission, and that was a special day for me, the family, and then just an exciting time because it really sets you up on a path for the next 5 years that, quite frankly, is unknown.
So do you stay at West Point or are you transferred to somewhere? What did that all look like?
Yeah, at West Point, depending on where you finish in the class will dictate kind of the choices you get, from everything from where you post, right? There's options all around the country from a base perspective. Then, quite frankly, what you do in the Army is dictated kind of by that rank system as well. So the higher up you are, the better chance you have at getting kind of your first picks, if you will.
Interesting. So they kind of have a flow chart for you guys and where you're going to go after graduation.
Yeah, they do. And I was lucky enough to get both of my first choices. I ended up doing logistics in the Army. So I was a logistics officer. And then I got my first choice from a base perspective as well in Colorado, Fort Carson, Colorado, to be exact.
So 5 years, right? You said, did you spend all 5 years then in Colorado?
Oh, no, I wish, Brad. It's nice there. No, I had, thinking back, it must have been within the first year for sure when I had showed up, checked in kind of at the base, and then was told shortly thereafter that I'd be getting deployed to Afghanistan. So I did that within the first year, kind of knocked out the deployment right away, and then returned to Fort Carson for the last 4 years.
Wow. So you graduated, moved halfway across the country, and shortly thereafter was sent to the Middle East.
I was. And actually, the best part is I believe, thinking back to it, at first, Brad, they actually told me hey, you're not deploying anytime soon. Get comfortable. You're not going anywhere. I go out, sign a lease, and then, not kidding, probably within the next week, I get called in and got the oops story. You're actually taking off. Cancel your lease. It's pretty memorable.
So, and how long were you in Afghanistan?
9 months.
9 months. What's the memory that jumps out the most from that stay?
You know, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Other than the spiders.
Oh, jeez.
That's what I remember you talking about.
I don't, the memories, it's just being inserted into, quite frankly, a whole different world. Everything from the day to day, dealing with the heat, kind of dealing with the new schedule, the unknowns, just a lot. It's tough to identify one thing.
So you went back, fulfilled the next 4 years, and then somehow you ended up from Colorado in the Army to Minnesota as an advisor. Give us kind of that story.
Yeah, I had a general idea of what I wanted to do after the Army. I kind of always liked finance, and there's stories kind of within my career of how I grew to kind of enjoy it. In the Army, I quickly realized, and I suppose found out, that financial planning and financial issues are relevant in any career. Whether you're a soldier or somebody working at Target, having the ability to manage your finances is important. And quite frankly, I would argue impacts how you perform in your individual career if it's not a distraction or something that is hurting you or your family. So kind of coming to that realization in the Army, helping people financially, I kind of dictated, hey, I might want to look into this and do it as a career.
Sure. So how did you get into it then? If that's what you decided, what was kind of your first foray into financial services?
Yeah, I had a friend through West Point. One of my teammates had a good close friend here in Minnesota, and had reached out and had heard that, I was looking in the industry. So I started kind of with a new company at the time, didn't know much, moved to Minnesota and kind of took a chance, Brad, to be honest.
So you came to Minnesota from Colorado, not really having any idea what you're getting yourself into.
I had no idea.
Did you know that we don't have mountains?
I knew that, but
also know how much colder it was here. Was it the hockey that drew you in?
It was the hockey. The hockey helped, but quite frankly, I think it was between Texas and Minnesota. I was not going to choose Texas. I suppose that's what I didn't want to do.
Well, I don't understand that, but maybe a different podcast for a different day. So how long have you been in Minnesota now, Danny?
Yeah, I arrived in 2017. So coming through 4 years now, hard to believe.
And so you joined us here at Fiat in January of 20, right?
Yep.
Matt? Am I not?
January 2020. I want to hear your account of first meeting us. I want you to hear your story. When you first met us and how this all came about.
You gotta do it to me, huh, Matt? That's fine. Well, my first account, let's see. I think like actually you and Brad, the both of you guys, you had started with kind of, we talk a lot about the bigger box firms. Mine was, where I started, was Mutual of Omaha. Matt and Brad's was Ameriprise. And in those outfits, for the listeners, typically the dress code is a little different.
I was wondering why you were leading in with all of this. It's all just
it
okay,
is.
I got it.
It is. So, in those outfits, and you guys will hear from Scott Airy, another advisor here, but by chance, that day that we met, the two of us wore, I think I was actually in a 3-piece with a pink shirt on, and I think Scott had a pink shirt and a jacket on as well.
And no, he was in a full 3-piece. Let's.
Was it?
Oh yeah,
you were both in a 3-piece.
You both had 3-piece with the pink shirt.
This reminds me. I was going to coordinate with Scott to wear it on Friday, actually, as blast to the past. But no, I think recollecting, I think when we came over, we had met Courtney in the lobby, and her reaction, I think, told us everything we needed to know. I think she was a little surprised. And then we looked in the offices, and I think we saw Matt, and I think it was jeans and a jean jacket, perhaps. I don't know what he was wearing, but
that's
the
I don't know,
Canadian
that's
tuxedo.
that's a safe bet of what he was wearing. I mean, the good news is Matt and I are big on culture, and we looked past the matching 3-piece suits and pink shirts, and here we are today. So Danny, for the listeners, tell them what you enjoy the most about your job. What kind of drives you as an advisor? What makes you get up in the morning and enjoy what you do?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think just overall helping people, kind of, and specifically, Brad, the type of, I guess, client that we seem to meet, the blue collar super saver, sacrifice a lot throughout their life, and is now at a point in life where they need to make some important decisions on how to keep their money, protect it from everything from the stock market going upside down to paying unnecessary taxes, and having the ability to impact people positively and help them kind of establish a plan that'll help them and future generations is pretty special. I don't think everybody obviously has the chance to do it, but something that I just enjoy doing, and have a pleasure coming into work each day knowing that that's my role.
Yeah, everybody's life impacts them, and as you grow up and the things that you went through, you obviously have some really big things in your past that I think I see on a day-by-day basis that make you a good advisor. But looking at your upbringing with hockey and being a D1 athlete, going into West Point, and then your military experience, what would you say is kind of the one or two things that you pull from those experiences that are most beneficial to your job now as an advisor?
Yeah, I think, I think it's discipline, and you kind of parlay that into accountability, where I think through West Point and through some of these life experiences, I've just come to learn the importance of having a structure, having a routine, and just being accountable overall. And I think, and working with clients and, potentially new clients, the one thing I think I'm really good at is being there no matter what. Not if I don't know the answer, being transparent and admitting that, and mentioning that of course we have the team to support, but just always being there and being on the spot for folks, because again, we're in a career and a profession where people need us, and what we do is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Danny, it's been a wild ride since we first met, and we've had a blast. What if you look at the rest of 2021? What are your top goals?
I don't, Matt, I think we kind of joke around this. I'm not the best goal guy, despite the background and being West Point, being competitive. I just like getting up every day and really helping folks from a personal goal standpoint. I wanted to purchase a house this year, and I suppose I was lucky enough to do that. But I'm just looking forward to helping the team grow, bring on some of the new guys and get them spun up, and really just start seeing how many people we can help here at Fiat.
Absolutely. Well, let's end on a fun note. I
have one more request after
okay.
yours.
Well, I want to be the ending, so you go.
Okay. So around our office, Danny is known for his very succinct one-liners. And I just have a request. I just want to hear one of those from Danny.
Show me your habits and I'll show you your future.
There you go. I like it. Let's end with some fun stuff, some fun questions. Let's just do 5 quick questions. I'll start. I'm going to put you on the spot. What is your favorite food?
Pizza.
What would be your number one vacation destination?
Bahamas.
What is the name of your dog?
Gunner.
What is your favorite activity outside of the office?
Working out.
Seriously? Now you're just making everybody else feel bad. Last question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In the Bahamas.
Well, that fits. Danny, it was a ton of fun getting to know you a little bit on the podcast. I hope that everybody listening learned something about you. You're a great addition to our team. We love having you here. And your backstory obviously impacts who you are as an advisor. And of all the things that we discussed today, I think my favorite part is that you do not shy away from conflict. Obviously, with your background in the military, being deployed in Afghanistan, you are not afraid of hitting challenges head on. And I think that really, really matters for people when you're talking about their life savings and their life plans. Having somebody on their team that's kind of willing to go into battle with them, no matter what that looks like, is vitally important. And I think that's, of all the things you bring to the team here at Fiat, that, to me anyway, that's the most valuable. I don't know if you want to add anything that Matt, before we close out.
Absolutely. It's an inspiration to everyone to see you. You're always the first in the office. You're always leading from the front, and we love to see it every day.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. With that said, guys, as always, we thank everybody for listening to Every Day is Saturday. If you want to reach out to us here at Fiat, our website is going to provide you all of the information that you need. You can find us at www.fiatwm, as in wealthmanagement.com, fiatwm.com. Please also subscribe to the podcast if you have not done so already, so you don't miss any of the future episodes. And we would absolutely love it if you would share with your friends and your loved ones. I'm Brad Gatto.
And I'm Matt Stahl.
And we'll see you all next Saturday.
But Brad, we don't record the podcast on Saturday.
Matt, how many times do I have to tell you? Every day is Saturday.
Thank you for listening to Every Day is Saturday. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Fiat Wealth Management or Foundation's investment advisors. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.